Welcome back to my channel, The Coin Spot. Today is best top 2 coins, one you want to miss. We're diving into the world of United States coins. Please don't skip this video, so let's get it started. Top 1, the 1970 United States $quarter coin, covering its history, composition, design, minting information, collector value, and more. Overview of the 1970 United States $quarter coin. The 1970 United States quarter, commonly known as the Washington quarter, is part of a series that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. This coin continued the long-standing design tradition established in the early 20th century and represents a pivotal point in the evolution of U.S. coinage, especially due to its composition and place in the era of change in the U.S. Mint's production practices, design, and features. Obverse, front. The obverse of the 1970 quarter features a left-facing bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Liberty at the top, in God we trust to the left of Washington's profile, and the date 1970 centered at the bottom. This portrait of Washington had been in use since 1932 and is notable for its clean, neoclassical look. It was based on a bust created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. Reverse, back. The reverse shows a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, with 2 olive branches beneath. The inscriptions are United States of America along the top rim, E pluribus unum just above the eagle, and $quarter at the bottom. This reverse design also remained largely unchanged until the release of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. Composition and physical characteristics. The 1970 quarter is part of the clad era of coinage, which began in 1965, when the U.S. Mint stopped using 90% silver for quarters due to rising silver prices. Composition. Outer layers, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Core, pure copper. Total metal content, no silver in circulation strikes, but some collector's editions contain silver. Diameter, 24.26 millimeters. Thickness, 1.75 millimeters. Weight, 5.67 grams. Edge, reeded, 119 reeds. This clad composition gives the coin a silvery appearance without the intrinsic value of silver mint marks and mintage. The 1970 quarters were struck at 3 U.S. Mint facilities, each indicated by a mint mark on the obverse, to the right of Washington's ponytail. No mint mark equals Philadelphia Mint. D mint mark equals Denver Mint. S mint mark equals San Francisco Mint, usually for proof coins. Mintage numbers. 1970, Philadelphia approximate. 136 million. 1970, D, Denver approximate. 417 million. 1970, S, San Francisco proof approximate. 2.6 million. Special varieties and errors. One of the most famous varieties from 1970 is the 1970 S-proof Washington quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter planchet. This highly rare and valuable error coin shows the image and design of a 1970 U.S. quarter, but was mistakenly struck on a silver coin from Canada. These coins are incredibly rare and have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Other minor varieties or errors include doubled dies on lettering, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks. Such errors, while rare, can increase a coin's value significantly to collectors' collector value and grading. In circulated condition, most 1970 quarters, especially those from Philadelphia or Denver, are only worth face value, 25 cents. This is due to their extremely high mintage and lack of precious metal content. However, value increases in uncirculated or proof condition. Circulated, worn 25 cents 50 cents. Uncirculated, MS60 MS65 $1 to $10. Proof, 1970, S10 to $20. High-grade examples, MS67 Plus or PR69/70 $20 to $200 plus depending on quality. Rare errors, e.g., 1970 S on Canadian quarter, $10,000 $45,000. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale developed by the Sheldon Coin Grading Scale, where MS, mint state, refers to uncirculated coins, and PR or PF, proof, is used for specially struck coins with a mirror finish where to buy or sell, stores and markets. Collectors can find or trade 1,970 quarters in many places: online coin dealers and marketplaces. eBay, great for hunting for varieties, errors, and proof coins. Heritage auctions, a trusted place for high-value or rare coins. PCGS and NGC certified coins can be bought/sold on their marketplaces. APMEX, JM Bullion, Littleton Coin Company reputable dealers for bulk or certified coins physical coin shops and coin shows local coin shops often stock common and rare Washington quarters. Coin shows or conventions offer face-to-face exchanges and expert appraisals U.S. Mint for collector sets. Although the 1970 coins are no longer minted, proof sets from 1970 may still be available in second-hand markets. The original 1970 S-proof set includes Lincoln cent, Jefferson nickel, Roosevelt dime, Washington quarter, Kennedy half dollar. These can still be purchased from dealers and often sell for $5 to $15 depending on condition, historical context, and significance. The 1970 quarter is emblematic of an era of transition in U.S. coinage. It was struck during a time of great change when silver was removed from circulating coins, inflation was rising, and public sentiment around coin collecting surged due to new minting techniques and design changes on the horizon, like the bicentennial coins in 1975 to 76. This coin represents the tail end of the classic Washington quarter era before the significant design shift in 1975 with the dual-dated bicentennial quarter. Although most 1970 quarters are not rare or highly valuable, they are important for historical completeness in a collection and provide insight into the economic conditions and minting technologies of the time. Summary. The 1970 Washington quarter is a common, copper-nickel-clad coin with a familiar design. While it holds little intrinsic value due to the lack of silver, it plays a vital role in the broader narrative of American numismatics. Its high mintage, simple but iconic design, and transition-era context make it a worthwhile piece for new and experienced collectors alike. For those lucky enough to find one of the rare varieties, like the 1970s on a Canadian planchet, it can even be a treasure worth thousands. Top 2. The 1965 United States quarter-dollar coin, also known as the 1965 Washington quarter, written in extended paragraphs for maximum clarity, depth, and historical insight. This includes history, design, composition, errors, values, and where to find or sell the coin. The 1965 quarter, a coin of historic transformation. The 1965 United States quarter-dollar coin represents a landmark shift in American numismatic history. It may appear to be an ordinary piece of pocket change, but it holds monumental significance due to what it symbolizes: the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. Before 1965, all United States quarters were struck in 90% silver, a tradition going back to the late 1700s. However, the early 1960s brought a crisis. The rising global price of silver meant that the melt value of coins like the quarter was approaching or even exceeding their face value. As a result, Americans began hoarding silver coins, leading to a serious coin shortage that threatened everyday commerce. The U.S. Mint could not keep up with demand, and store owners and banks struggled to maintain adequate coin supplies. This urgent national issue forced Congress to act swiftly. In response, the Coinage Act of 1965 was passed, which eliminated silver from quarters and dimes and reduced it in half dollars. For the quarter specifically, this meant a complete departure from over a century of silver-based production. From this year forward, the quarter would no longer carry any intrinsic silver value. The 1965 quarter was the first clad coin ever issued in U.S. history, a coin composed of a copper core with layers of copper-nickel alloy on the outside. This act didn't just change the composition of coins, it marked a transition in American economic policy, acknowledging the reality that precious metals were no longer sustainable for mass coin production in a modern, growing economy. Design details. Classic George Washington imagery. Despite the major change in metal content, the 1965 quarter maintained the traditional design first introduced in 1932. The obverse, front, features the familiar portrait of George Washington, America's first president, facing left. This design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, was based on a bust of Washington made by French neoclassical artist Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1785. Around the portrait, the words, "Liberty," stretch across the top, while the motto "In God We Trust" is seen just to the left of Washington's neck. At the bottom center is the date 1965, clearly marking the beginning of the clad era. On the reverse back side of the coin is a bold and striking image of a heraldic eagle, wings outstretched in a display of strength and freedom. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, representing military readiness, and below it are olive branches, symbolizing America's commitment to peace. Surrounding this design are United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom. Just above the eagle's head is the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, out of many, one, expressing national unity. This reverse design remained unchanged for decades until the 1999 State Quarters program introduced new reverse images for each state composition and physical specifications. The key transformation in the 1965 quarter was its metal composition. Prior to 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, with a bright white finish and a distinctive ring when dropped on a hard surface. But from 1965 onward, quarters adopted a copper-nickel clad composition, which remains in use today. The inner core of the coin is pure copper, and it is bonded on both sides with a 75% copper/25% nickel alloy, giving the coin a silver-like appearance while eliminating costly silver content. Here are the official specifications of the 1965 quarter: weight, 5.67 grams. Diameter, 24.26 millimeters, 0.955 inches. Thickness, 1.75 millimeters. Edge, reeded, 119 reeds. Metal composition, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. With a pure copper core, this clad design was a technological advancement meant to prolong circulation life and reduce cost. Unlike earlier silver coins, 1965 quarters reveal a distinct copper stripe along the edge, visible when viewed from the side. This has become the easiest way to tell a clad coin apart from a silver one. Minting, mint marks, and mintage numbers. Interestingly, while the 1965 quarter was minted in massive quantities, there is no mint mark found on any 1965 quarter. During this period from 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint temporarily removed all mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding. The intent was to eliminate public preference for coins minted at specific locations, such as Denver or San Francisco, which had contributed to shortages. As a result, all 1965 quarters appear identical, even though they were struck at multiple mints. The total mintage for the 1965 quarter is estimated to be approximately 1,819,717,540 coins. This makes it one of the highest mintage years in U.S. quarter history, ensuring that these coins remain common in circulation even today. Errors, varieties, and hidden rarities. Although the vast majority of 1965 quarters are extremely common and worth only face value, there are certain rare errors and varieties that are highly prized by collectors. The most famous of these is the 1965 silver quarter error, which is a transitional error. During the mint's switch from silver to clad planchets, a small number of leftover 1964 silver blanks were mistakenly used to strike coins with the 1965 date. These coins contain 90% silver and are visually similar but differ in weight and edge coloration. Here's how to spot a possible 1965 silver error: weight test. Silver quarters weigh 6.25 grams, while clad coins weigh 5.67 grams. Edge test. Silver coins have a solid silver-colored edge with no visible copper. Sound test. Silver coins produce a high-pitched ringing sound when tapped. These transitional errors are extremely rare and have sold for $4,000 to $10,000 plus, depending on condition and certification. Other valuable error types include double die obverse, doubled lettering or date, off-center strikes, part of the design missing, clipped planchets, portions of the coin cut off during blanking, broad strikes, die cracks, and struck-through errors. Each of these can add significant value to a 1965 quarter, especially if authenticated by professional graders such as PCGS or NGC. Current collector value and price estimates. For the average circulated 1965 quarter, the value is about 25 cents, its face value. That's because these coins were made in such high numbers and have no silver content. However, uncirculated examples and certified errors can be worth much more. Here are general price estimates. Circulated, common, 25 to 35 cents. Uncirculated, MS60, MS65 $1 to $5. High grade, MS66, MS67 $15 to $80 plus. Special mint set, SMS $3 to $15 per coin, from 1965 SMS sets. 1965 silver error, $45,000 to $10,500. Major errors $50 to $500 plus, depending on type. If you think you might have a valuable version of the 1965 quarter, it's worth having it weighed and possibly authenticated by a professional grading service. Where to buy or sell a 1965 quarter dollar coin. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe on my channel for more videos.